What do you say we do this? Well, I guess you can tell by the very bright light beaming into the room here that this is, in fact, a pre-record. Please accept my apologies on that one. I have somewhere I have to be tonight, and of course, you see the thing crawling along the bottom of the screen here. The stream is moving to Wednesday nights in November. It was becoming untenable to do a live show on Friday nights with just the way life is right now. And I would prefer to do the live show than to do the pre recorded stream because I enjoy interacting with all of you so much in the comments section. So I'm going to go ahead and move it to Wednesday nights. I'm thinking 7:30 or 8. We'll feel it out, but it'll be in that time frame on Wednesdays. So that way I'll be able to, sit down. I can watch the news at 5 and 6 and everything will be fresh in my head. Then hop on and we'll chat about the events of the day. And that's that. So just wanted to let you know at the top of the show here, and if you're new, then it won't be that big of a deal for you. Those of you who are used to seeing me on Friday nights, a little bit to adjust to. I'm assuming the viewership, which was already quite modest, will take some kind of a hit at least early on. But what can we do? Anyway, tell your friends that for now, they can see it on Fridays until the first week of November, and then which I think it's just about a month from now. So you got a month heads up for the show moving to Wednesday nights. The usual stuff: Twitter at Mike Montone, Instagram at Gary_Moyler, Moyler. Easiest way to get to me is in the comments here on YouTube. At Mike's Golden Streams, or just look for Sacktap Live, Mike Montone, whatever. You'll find it. And of course, the audio podcast is available. The Savage Sacktap. It should be anywhere you download podcasts. And with that in mind, what do you say we chat it up here? Pete Hegseth had a big. I know that's not usually how I start the show with talking about cabinet members, but he, I have the synopsis here. They got the generals and the admirals together, and they did it in the auditorium there at Quantico, and everybody. There were videos, I guess, of him talking. And the generals weren't applauding, so people were dunking on him because the generals didn't applaud him and they didn't applaud Trump. The generals, I don't think, applaud. Correct me if I'm wrong. If there's somewhere where that's going on, I'm sure there is footage out there of a general applauding or of a couple generals applauding. But generally speaking, this is not something that happens in the military. And of course, Hegseth knows that. I think he was a major. He deployed to Iraq. He's been around. He knows. I watched the speech. It was very much a speech in the vein of this is what military speeches are like. They're not, it was a rundown of what he's the Secretary of War now, of course. It's the Department of War. It was just a rundown of his expectations as Secretary of War, that is what leadership does in the military. The way we operate now is just a 24-hour news cycle, and everyone is looking for reasons to shit on the Trump administration, whether legitimate or not. There are things like threatening Jimmy Kimmel, not such a good thing, but this was a good thing. I thought. I watched the speech. It was very much what I think a lot of the post 9/11 veteran generation has been looking for out of defense, or now War Department leadership. This is what we've wanted, right? During the Obama years and the Biden administration, there was a lot of trending towards, it's gotten so kind of hack to use the term wokeness, but it was a very woke military, because the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan were winding down. Obviously, Afghanistan took us forever to wind down and ended in fucking catastrophic fashion. But there was sort of an attitude, I think, amongst those administrations that the military is not here. It's not here to do war anymore. It's a massive government jobs program, which it is to a degree. It is a massive government jobs program. However, the people who are doing those jobs have to maintain a certain degree of readiness. And through all of these, again, we'll call them woke reforms, because that is what they were, though. Like, that's the thing. The word woke became very hack, like, because a lot of bad comedians and shitty talk radio and people's dads picked up on it. So it just became, if there was a TV show that you didn't like because young people were being nice to each other, it was woke and it was terrible. Which is, obviously that's not the case, but there were many reforms to the military which could legitimately be considered what I think, woke agreeably was, right? There was a relaxing of fitness. There was this huge desire in the Obama years to get women into combat arms. This was seen as the biggest push for equality in the world. It's absolutely ridiculous and unnecessary, and it's not a force strengthening move to get women into combat arms by any stretch of the imagination. No one, unless you're in a situation where you're such a small country that sort of all hands on deck, like, the way Israel operates, or like in these situations where it's total war and now everybody is effectively a combatant. Like when you hear about some female sniper in Vietnam or World War II or something like that, and it's like, yes, there was these situations where the entire terrain is just war ravaged and horrible, and maybe there's some insurgency going on. Yes, you do get situations in which women have comported themselves quite well in combat. It's not something that is out of the realm of possibility. But when we're talking about a taxpayer-funded military that we're trying to raise to be the best in the world, then there's no reason to shoehorn women into jobs that are just 1,000 times more suited to young men. And that's what the military is largely made up out of males under the age of 22, because those are the ones you want doing most of these jobs. For example, when I was commanding a Marine Corps infantry platoon in Iraq in 2009, I weighed, before putting gear on, over 200 pounds. Probably going about 210 when I was in Iraq. All I was doing was fucking eating, lifting weights, crushing beers when I was home on leave. Like, I was just the fucking stereotypical 23-year-old meathead. That's who you want doing that job. The problem is, if you add women to that unit and all of a sudden someone with my build, with an additional 100 pounds, 60 pounds, whatever, 80 pounds of gear on, whatever you're carrying, depending on your job, and you become incapacitated, is a woman going to be able to move you around the battlefield? Can they drag you to safety? Can they get you to covering concealment if you need to be worked on before you can get to the next echelon of care? Can they help carry you to the next echelon of care? Can they get you to a helicopter? Can they get you to a truck to get you the fuck out of there if you're unconscious and, you need assistance? So this is a big thing. And then there are all these other things, just like, there are hygienic issues that women face that out in austere environments become a health risk to them. And it's not about, well, she can tough it out, this is what's fair. It's about when you are existing in an austere environment way outside in fucking Indian country, everyone on your roster, everybody is someone who needs to be able to pick up a weapon, stand a post, go on patrol, fight to the last man, like all of that. And if you have, potential reoccurring health issues that may pop up in those situations, there may be situations when you are now down bodies, when you need bodies, because of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And then there's all sorts of other shit. He talked about the beards, the hair, just maintaining standards. There was all of this shit during the previous administrations. And because you have to remember, even under the first Trump administration, the Trump administration, though they want to undo a lot of that stuff, is dealing with, generals and admirals who are appointed by, fucking, again, you hate to say it because you hate to sound like someone's uncle on Facebook, but, woke fucking presidencies. So there's an effect on who's actually writing the regulations for the military. So there's just a lot that needs to be undone. Grooming standards. Shaving a beard seems like a trivial thing to people outside of the military, but as Pete Hegseth said, no more beardos. You lose your individuality when you join the military. I know that in the year 2025, this is very hard for people to sort of comprehend, but the military is not a place for individuals. If you want to be an individual, go to fucking Greenwich Village. Go hang out in Brooklyn. Go to San Francisco, Haight-Ashbury. Go somewhere, Pacific Beach. Go to Los Angeles. Lot of room for individuals in those places. There is not room for individuals in the military. You're not an individual anymore. You're part of the fucking Marine Corps owns your ass. You signed the motherfucking contract. USMC. So yeah, this whole idea of reawakening the warrior spirit, and reinforcing physical and grooming standards and straightening out some of this gender shit is absolutely necessary. And I know, again, I try to avoid political stuff, but I talk about, one, I'm a veteran, and so I'm interested in military stuff. So there's that, but which military stuff is always a little bit intertwined with politics. And it's like, you can't, contemporary society and culture has gotten so deep in the politics is so ingrained in it. Because like we were talking, to talk about how late night TV kind of blows now is to get into, well, yeah, because it just became a political sounding board for Hollywood weirdos. Like it's just very, everything has become, you go on social media, everything turns political. Like you go on Reddit and find a fucking argument about the correct way to peel a banana, and someone is going to say something about MAGA, and someone's going to say something about wokeism. It's just, that's just where we are. But I wanted to get into that because this had been getting so much attention because I guess people have seen so many of the MAGA rallies and stuff and Trump, I guess, said, yeah, you can clap if you want to. Like, he's spoken to the generals enough. He knows the deal. There's no, you go into one of these things, if you're out in the audience, someone yells attention on deck, everybody stands up. Whoever the ranking person is walks in, they take their thing. You're allowed to take your seats at ease. But there's no, it's not the State of the Union. We don't do fucking big rounds of applause. If that were to happen, someone would yell "at ease" and everyone would settle down. As that is what happens during military. If you're sitting in a room with a bunch of guys in the military and it gets too loud, someone is going to yell "at ease," and everyone's like, "Shh." If you've been there, if you know, you know. And then when the thing ends, again, it ends, and someone yells, "Attention on deck!" Everybody stands up. Whoever the lead person is walks out, and then everyone goes about their business. So there is no, it's not like it's not like 300, or it's not like if you've seen videos of guys like a gunnery sergeant giving a speech before they, cross the fucking wire in Fallujah or something like that. Then you'll get like a little bit of like, but then you will get that, but not, for something like this with the generals. The officership in the military is, your whole thing is maintaining a just a stone fucking face and revealing no emotion whatsoever. But from Trump and Pete Hegseth to other waspy Caucasians, PGA of America president apologizes to Team Europe for fans' Ryder Cup behavior. Now, I did not watch an instant of the Ryder Cup. I'm not a golf guy, but I do. I was a jock in high school and college, and the jocks and the preps tend to kind of mingle at the same watering holes, and you kind of date the same chicks, and there's a lot of overlap between the two because, of course, a lot of preps are jocks and a lot of jocks are preps. So I did rub elbows with a lot of golf people growing up. And I always found them just a little bit weird, a little bit off-putting. But as I mature into adulthood, I've come to truly enjoy them. I know out in Arizona, I think they do that Waste Management Open, which goes completely off the fucking rails, where they're just, they're belly flopping in the mud, they're all just getting fucked up and treating it like a great big, white pride frat party. It just looks like a lot of fun. In the crowd there are at least 3 guys who are going to, at some point, murder-suicide their entire family. You got a good 3 to 6 New York Post articles out of that crew for stuff that didn't even happen at the event. But this Ryder Cup, I guess, goes on in Bethpage out in Long Island, Farmingdale. I don't know. Bethpage, I think, is the course, and Farmingdale is the town in Long Island. The Long Island's very hard to figure out because their towns on Long Island have towns within them, like they have hamlets. Long Island is a very strange place. It's literally like if New Jersey and upstate New York had a child and just kind of shit it out into the Atlantic Ocean. And on its way out through the canal, it grazed parts of like Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx, and picked up little tidbits from them, and that is the culture of Long Island, where New Jersey leans more heavily Italian than Jew. Long Island leans more heavily Jewish than Italian, but they both places have hefty amounts of each and are very culturally influenced by such. But there's also this big Caucasian preppiness to Long Island. I don't think they don't live out there. I think they just like to visit because they have stuff like this. They have the Belmont Stakes, they have the Ryder Cup, they have Montauk and the Hamptons and everything. So preppy New York City, preppy Manhattan loves to head out to the island. They like to go out east. They don't want to stay out there unless they're incredibly wealthy. Then they finally buy the place in the Hamptons and they spend the summer out there with a little bit of commuting back. But for the most part, they don't live out there, but they do go out for events like this. And apparently, they were blackout drunk. They started a "fuck you, Rory" chant when I think, I guess when he appeared on TV screens, and his fellow the European team did beat the American team, so they get their victory. McIlroy responded to the spectators, and his fellow European golfers rallied together in a show of unity to support him. Just the way that that's written, by the way, does sound very fruity and European. Well, yeah, you can't say that to our guy. We're going to rally together in a show of unity to support him. Whereas I feel like Americans will just tell you to suck their dick. Like, again, this is golf. I don't know what the specific etiquette is here. But Europe did become the first ones to win the tournament on foreign soil since the Europeans did so in 2012. Yeah, I do. There is just something that I find so utterly charming about the WASP culture of getting blackout drunk and going to either a tennis or golf outing. Now, the tennis crowd is far worse. The golf crowd is like we talked about the U.S. Open a couple weeks ago and how everyone at the U.S. Open is a terrible person. The U.S. Open, obviously, it does get a lot of like finance bros and whatnot, but the U.S. Open also attracts more because I think the country club where golf takes place is much more of it's like Trump owns country clubs. Like those are Trump WASPs. The tennis Caucasians are more of the we were very upset when Hillary lost types. They are the, they spent their young wild days living in Brooklyn and pretending to be a little artsy, all the while knowing that they would eventually go on to, get work at, dad's PR firm or something. It's something along those lines. They're a different type of terrible. The golf people, though, are they're much frattier, they're much broier. I don't do very well around the preps. Like I'm, if the jocks and the preps exist on a spectrum and there's the overlay in the middle, I'm pretty far out to the fucking jock spectrum. I'll steal the odd piece of fashion advice from them, and every once in a while you do get the scoop on a good restaurant or cocktail bar from that crowd. But otherwise, I find that the women are too stick thin for my. I like a girl with a little ass on her. I want something something I can really grip. But they are fun. They're fun. Whereas the tennis crowd is a little bit more cunty. If you catch the golf crowd when they're sober, they can be some of them be a tad cunty, but you get a couple pops in these people and you're going to have a good time. So again, I don't, not my idea of spending a weekend going out to Long Island. It's just a fucking nightmare. I don't know how people do that. I don't know how people who travel through New York City to get to things are truly insane. I hate it. It's why I don't go up to New England very often. New England is beautiful, especially this time of year, but just the idea of traveling on 95 through fucking New York and Connecticut sounds absolutely terrible. If you'll excuse me a moment here, I just have to go under the table and plug something in. Otherwise, my laptop is indeed going to die. Just a moment. I'm still here. Where did I go? There I am. Surprise. And I'm back. Yeah. How are we doing on time? Okay, good. This story really tickles me. We have this Florida nurse gets these fucking ads. Florida nurse gets prison after husband caught her having sex with teen stepson. Incestuous pedophile. Well, I mean, it's your stepson, so you're not blood. The weirder thing about having sex with your stepmother is becoming Eskimo bros with your dad. But we do have to, I need us on record as knowing what everyone needs to know what this woman looks like. We cannot pass judgment without getting a good look at this broad. So I will share her in a moment. I just want to make sure I'm getting the picture with the best representation. Yeah, I mean, all of them are about the same. That is to say, I will present in a moment. Present them to me. So here she is. Here is what's her name? Alexis von Yates. I mean, that is a porn name if I had ever heard one. Oh, this is only September 7th. This is let me see if I can find the latest article on this, because there was an interesting update to it, and of course I just apologies. Here I got the latest article I had seen. So I'm sorry. What I was looking for was there. I had seen an article where she talked about how she mentioned that she had been. Oh yeah, okay. This is the good one. Okay, good. I'm sorry about that. I hope I didn't lose too many of you. A Florida nurse behind bars after she was caught sexually assaulting her 15-year-old stepson. She is now separated from her husband as new details emerge. So this is her. This is Alexis von Yates. And yeah, I think we're all aware of what's going on the internet right now with regard to step porn, right? She wound up, she's 35. She had, her stepson was 15. She accepted a charge of lewd and lascivious battery on a child between the ages of 12 and 16. So she's a 2-year sentence, which who knows, it might be suspended. But she and her husband have separated. Von Von Yates insisted that she only went after her stepson, who reportedly told cops he was a virgin, because he reminded her of Yates, even detailing how the teen's genitals resembled his father's. First of all, the minute, if say I was in a situation where I had a hot stepmom and I was down for it, which I never would be, because the idea of being Eskimo bros with my father might be like that to me is an all-time just an all-time off-putting thought. I don't know if there is there might be more off-putting thoughts, but it's on a short list. I would immediately be taken out of it if I was told during the act or leading up to the act that my genitals resembled my father's. That would not. And I know, like, look, stepmother seduces virgin while husband is out is literally, if you searched that right now on Pornhub, you wouldn't have, it would take you months to go through every clip. Like, it would be an impossible task. For whatever reason, society, and I did not, as a member of the pornography watching public, I did not endorse this at all. But society decided that collectively that we could only get off if we were getting off to videos of people who are in the same step family. Everyone having sex has to be in a step family now. It's terrible. You don't want to hear the word mom when you have an erection. Like, that's just the way, or dad, or any of that. The since-fired nurse spent the week leading up to the assault joking about watching stepmom pornos and belaboring her mounting sexual appetites. Yeah, like, this is like literally, this is a lazy Brazzers plot. This is every time you've been going through Pornhub and you've seen some fucking, 20-year-old asshole with a fucking broccoli haircut sitting on the couch holding his fucking balls underneath the band of his sweatpants, and his hot stepmother's been standing over him with like a leg up on the couch showing off her pussy. It's this is it. And I mean, you understand it. Look, if Alexis Von Yates was, and she certainly should, when she gets out, just do a stepmother OnlyFans. I mean, she is the realest of all of the stepmothers. And if the trend doesn't seem to be going anywhere, everything seems to be, and I know it's not just the algo feeding it to me, because I'm very diligent. I turn off my cookies. I use incognito. My goal these days when I go to a porn site, instead of searching specific stuff, I like to let it come to me. So I'll go through just whatever is new on the feed, like not the for you or the promote or suggested. I'm talking about, hey, this is just what hit Pornhub's feed today. No cookies. Let's see it. Because that takes you down more of an adventure. Now, of course, I do still search from time to time, or I go to a category that I like. But more and more, I find myself just kind of going with what looks good when I get to the restaurant, so to speak. And what you're seeing a lot of is stepmother, MILF, POG. Lesbian is all stepmother or massage based for some reason. And then a lot of it's somewhere between women who I guess fall somewhere between MILF and GILF, like chicks in their 40s and 50s who aren't quite MILFs, but they're not old and decrepit enough to be grandmas. They're in that sort of, I guess Gen X women would be. I don't know if we have a good term for them yet, but a lot of that, and then it's just also it's a very common the step siblings exist to an annoying degree. Not a huge fan of that, but there is a lot of that out there. Von Yates reportedly cornered her stepson while her two young children were sleeping in a separate room and started kissing his neck and sexually assaulting him, the teen testified. Yates caught the pair in the act as his terrified son fled into the bathroom with his pants around his ankles. Yeah, I mean, there is such a slapstick nature to this story. While Yates grilled the teen for the truth about what he'd walked in on, Von Yates tried to plead that she told the boy to stop. The teen shot down his stepmom's tail, but was fearful that Yates would snap and beat him with a belt. Yates dragged the teenager to his grandparents' house for shelter and lamented to him about how he ruined his life. Whose life did he ruin is sort of the question. I don't know that he ruined his own life. Again, a little bit strange to be Eskimo bros with your dad, but I think the life that was really ruined in this situation to me is the life of the father, because the father was not only was he cuckolded by a teenager, he was cuckolded by his teenager. That I don't know how you come back from that. I don't know how you could. A grown man should be able to outfuck a teenage boy just every day of the week. A woman reviewing a sexual performance with a guy in his 30s versus a fucking teenager should always pick you at that point in your life should have enough sexual acumen to outduel a child. Like, that's embarrassing. Like, the teenagers, young people don't know how to have sex. They may visually understand a thing or two from, that they saw on the internet or whatever, but truth be told, you don't realize it until you hook up with a chick. I feel like after, like, a couple years after college, and it's like, oh, you really know what you're up to now. This is different. Because you look back on, like, hooking up with chicks in college, and it's like, yeah, there obviously there is a sexiness to sorority sluts, but if we're being honest, chicks they haven't really figured out what they're doing, and you look back at your own performance, and you're like, I drop hammer so much better now than when I was that age, but. Yeah, so his grandparents discouraged the boy from reporting the assault to his biological mother. Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know. So this guy had to tell his parents that his son banged his wife. That's a rough one. I once thought that the guy who got erectile dysfunction the Saturday night before Father's Day was the worst facing your parents moment, but I think the worst facing your parents moment is getting cuckolded by the kid whose diapers you used to clean. I mean, that kid just owns you. And you're going to have to pay his college tuition one day? Jesus. Yeah, the reason they don't want you to tell the biological mother because that's such a win for her. Like, do you realize that, like, that is how big of a fucking victory that is. Now there's another picture of Miss Von Yates here that will give this some context. This is another picture of her that was shared. So you understand how tempers could flare, and you understand. I mean, this is Florida. This is like, I read there's that Florida Man website, and you read stories about Florida where it's like, a guy fucking was taking angel dust and he ate his neighbor's face. That's one version of Florida story. Or there's the one where the mother or the brother-in-law hired his girlfriend's ex-boyfriend as a hitman to have his ex-girlfriend's ex-husband killed. Like, that's a very Florida story. This chick banging her stepson and getting caught by the father and talking about watching stepmom porn. Like, if we were wondering where all of the stepmother sex was taking place, we should have known. But yeah, just absolutely incredible. I love that story. I've been following it. I guess we kind of arrived at the conclusion here to it. Again, not to be too political, and I'm not even going to go deep on this one, but I just wanted to touch on, because it's been going on so many times. Israel intercepts Gaza flotilla and detains activists, including Greta Thunberg. So Greta Thunberg is just the admiral of the ocean seas. I guess she's just been sailing the Mediterranean over and over on these flotillas, trying to deliver whatever to Gaza. She is just all sorts of kooky. You remember she was initially she was a climate activist, and she would yell at us. She looks and sounds like Eric Cartman when she speaks. Like, I should be in school. I should be in school. You have taken my life from me. I should be in school. And all we were hearing about how global warming was going to destroy the planet before this generation could enjoy it. And now she's in her mid-20s, and global warming seems to have at least slowed to the degree that she has time to hop aboard a flotilla from Europe to Gaza to drop off care packages in the Middle East. So, doing fine with the environment for now. But she is just something else. She's severely autistic, I believe. And her parents are, I think they're artists. But she would be nobody if not for the fact that she kind of rose to her position during those very, very, again, not to overdo it on the woke stuff, but during those very woke years where it was everyone, excuse me, there's an autistic teenager wants to yell from another country, wants to yell at us about the environment. Everybody shut up and listen. Like, we were kind of going through that for a while, and that gave her a platform And now this is where we are. She's getting like arrested by fucking Interpol or whoever, wearing a keffiyeh out of this. It's the Israeli Foreign Ministry. Sorry, but yeah, I am looking forward to many years of Greta Thunberg. She is going to do some wacky stuff. I can see her doing an assassination. Anyway, Godspeed to Greta Thunberg, whatever she gets into next. We'll finish today. This is an incredible story. The Florida A&M marching band. I want to make sure I have my headphones all set up. If you know, I struggle to play videos appropriately, correctly. We'll get to the video in a moment. The Florida A&M announcer under fire for remark about Alabama State dancers. New face of Ozempic. So the announcer for this is New York Post, historically black university marching band is facing backlash for referring to a plus-size dance team as the new face of Ozempic. Jay Boulard, the longtime announcer for Florida A&M's Marching 100, joked about the size of Alabama State's Honeybees dancers during halftime of a football game between rival schools last Saturday. So here it is. Let me share it with you. One sec. All right, here we go.
They're now the new face of Ozempic.
So what he said was he introduced the Honeybees, and then he said, congratulate them. They are now the new face of Ozempic, which that was what resulted in the, first of all, if I know my friends in the African-American community, they love a good burn. But this is very funny because the Honeybees, founded in 2004, is a dance troupe that is composed only of plus-size female students as an accompaniment to the ASU Mighty Marchin' Hornets. So this historically black college has this BBW dance squad. The minimum weight requirement to be a honeybee is approximately between 230 to 250 pounds. So that is why the new face of Ozempic stung. And these are the gals. These are the gals from the Honeybees. Let's have a look so you can judge for yourself. If they are the new face of Ozempic, they don't appear to have started in on their script yet. But, and look, again, as a guy who doesn't mind a gal with a little bit of ass to her, this to me is obviously far too much. Not my type. I guess the short one is the best you're gonna do. But yeah. I mean, back in this is the new face of Ozempic is the joke that, like, if you were riding to practice in someone's dad's SUV, like, dad's up front, his son's riding shotgun, and then three of the kids on the team are in the back. Back in the 90s, on your way to like a Pee-wee football game or something like that, that would be the time when dads would sort of share that, like, pushing the envelope dad humor that it wasn't the stuff you got around the house. This was the stuff that got busted out when mom and the fucking broads weren't around. Like, they were gonna get the vintage stock out just for the boys. Fucking, and that is the kind of joke that he would have been like, hey, like, obviously these girls would have had to have been, in the lexicon for him to make the joke. You'd have to understand the context. But he'd call them the new face of Ozempic, and he'd have a car full of adolescent boys on their way to a Pee-wee football game just cracking up. And that's the way it used to be. I can't tell if they're wearing Spanx. The little one is very reminiscent of the Indian chick who spanked me. She was very well put together, nice hourglass. I've told this story before, and then when I got the old top layer off and we got down to business, there were questions. Namely, I mean, those things are a fucking struggle to get off. If you've never met what you thought was just like a slightly thick chick who was going to be a good time, and then it turned out she was wearing Spanx, and there was a lot more to her than you would have initially realized. It's a scene. Getting Spanx off is it's something else. They gotta make it so it just latches in the back and you can undo it, or maybe like some sort of wraparound, and you can just rip the Velcro there. But yeah, that was a tough one. But yeah, very funny, I thought. I hope this guy doesn't lose his job, because that was a hell of a roast. The group was originally formed when band director James Oliver allowed 5 plus-size young ladies to join the band during a halftime show. Their appearance created a buzz in the crowd at the end of the performance, and they've since been part of the game day script. Of course, I mean, look, I don't think I'm being racially insensitive when I say that our friends, gentlemen of color, have been known to enjoy a more full-figured gal. So it follows that at an HBCU, that would be what you would do. And of course, that's it's understandable, right? I bet if you go to UConn, up in fucking waspy Connecticut, where everything is a little dull and a little bland, and the preferable woman is sort of slight and blonde and fair skin, and maybe not over the top conventionally pretty, but sort of well put together, and that would be the polar opposite, right? That you go down to the University of Miami, I bet you have more of the sort of the J-Lo type, as it were, there. So different strokes for different folks, and of course the PA announcer, Mr. Boulard, claims his jab was supposed to be part of the lighthearted banter that comes with the friendly competition of HBCU band culture, and that's also true. If you when I was in high school, I played in a very white conference in college, but in high school I was in the Bergen Passaic Scholastic League, and Passaic County is quite ethnically diverse. So we would play like Patterson Catholic or Passaic Tech, and they had large African American populations, and their bands were unfucking real. Like you'd go play them, and during the game, their band would be playing contemporary hip hop. Like they had just learned it. Like you get bands playing fucking Trick Daddy songs. It was awesome. So they do have this culture. So I think, and this guy, you got to get a look at this guy, because this guy is exactly who you want making this joke. And he's a great guy to wrap it up on. We'll wrap up on this fella. Like, this guy making the new face of Ozempic joke when the honeybees take the field. How could you not want that as part of the flavor of fucking Florida A&M football? Right? I mean, just perfect. Everything about this guy is perfect. Looks like he's been doing this job for 100 years. Don't bother him. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to get the crowd going. Good for him. I hope they do not punish him too severely, because it's very funny, and I enjoyed it, and we need more of that. We need more of that in the world. We need more of the face of Ozempic joke. Okay. I believe now we are probably zeroing in on an hour. Yes, we are. I'm going to hop in the shower. I have a gathering to attend. Again, you see the scroll going across the bottom. Stream moving to Wednesday nights in November. Please, please, please remember that. Also remember Twitter at Mike Montone, Instagram at Gary_Moyler, MOYLER. And of course, the best place to reach me is in the comments here on Sacktap Live, at Mike's Golden Streams on YouTube, or just search Sacktap Live. All right, guys. Hopefully live next week. I think next week is Comic-Con, so it'll be a busy Friday, but hopefully I'm going to get a live one in, and then I might have pre-records after that. That might be my last live Friday. We'll see, before the switch to Wednesdays. But I'll keep this on the screen to remind everybody. So thanks for checking it out. Please share it, tell your friends, and I'll catch you all on the flip side. And right on time, my phone is ringing.